Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Queen Bernadette. Welcome back to my channel. I wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about the divine feminine, divine masculine, and more so the distorted divine feminine. Okay. Now, what is the divine feminine? Divine feminine is very, very restful and comfortable in their femininity. Okay. Now, there are some people that would much rather be a man bashing, man hater, and then expect to draw in their divine masculine. I don't understand how that works. A divine masculine is going to, by his very energy being divine masculine, really reciprocate the energies of a divine feminine. Now, if there's masculine in that feminine body, okay, more so than what is required to survive, okay, the feminine does need a little bit of masculine in them to not be taken advantage of, to get things done, okay, be brave, okay. And those are the elements that are inherent in the divine feminine, but it's in certain portions. It's become a little bit unbalanced, I've noticed, okay? It's become to the point where if you're a negative, man bashing, man hating female, you want to attract this uber masculine, divine masculine to your life. But how are you going to do that when have more masculine in you? He's not going to respond to that. You see, the way man and woman work, the way that it was originally meant to work, and there's perfection in God's design, okay? The man is there to protect. The man is there to lead. The woman is there to support, to be the heart and the soul, to be the softness, to be the reason. There's a balance that needs to happen between the two. And if the divine feminine is acting too manly, then it turns the DM, the divine masculine, all the way off. All the way off. Imagine for a minute putting yourself in the divine masculine shoes. That helps a lot. I'm going to tell you from personal experience. I've spoken with this with my friends, and we all have come to that consensus that it really does help to put yourself in that person's shoes. It's very easy to make snap judgments off of what you see and what you are not seeing happen in the 3D over a span of time. That's Gregorian time. Okay. There is no time in heaven. Okay. What's 50 years to us is a blink of an eye to God. Okay. So that being said, imagine your DM. Just put yourself in his shoes for a minute. If you are the type of person that he sees online is bashing the masculine and talking all this negativity on him, and it's a big turnoff. Imagine you were a man. Just imagine for a minute as a woman that you're a man and put yourself in his place, right? Imagine seeing online all of this male bashing. How is that going to make the DM feel? There's a transition happening with the DM right now, okay? How long did it take Yeshaya to come to realize that he had this big destiny? It goes from 12 to 33 in the Bible, right? 13 years, right? Or 18 years, something like that. Don't quote me on my math. My math is terrible. I've never been good at math. Okay. But that's a big span of time, which highlights in the Bible how long it takes for a person to come to terms with what they are here to do. You see, the seed has already been planted from the time of our births between the divine masculine and the divine feminine, of what you're here to do, what you're supposed to do, who you're supposed to do it with. okay, and what role you're supposed to play. Now, much like in the wars of old, it's the man that went out to fight and the woman that held the fort down at home. She's the foundation, okay? The man is the action, we're the foundation. If our foundation is all out of whack and we're acting like men, because modern feminism says that you have to act like a man, but then you want to attract the man. Do you see the mathematics here? It doesn't add up. A man is hardwired to protect, hardwired to feel needed, hardwired to want to keep you under his wing. But if you're doing, now then nobody's saying here at all that you should sit there collecting dust like a plant collecting dust and twiddle your thumbs. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. But there are certain roles, and when a divine feminine is frustrated, and I've talked about this before, as frustrated as she is, the mere thought of moving on to somebody else disgusts her. Because at that particular moment in time, yeah, you're being a pain in my butt, but you're still my husband. I signed on for this. I didn't expect you to be perfect. It's a long, hard road to get to that divine perfection, okay? You're going to fuck up every now and again. You're going to fall down. Just think of it as a bike, right? And, when you're wobbling, you just got those training wheels off and you're wobbling that front wheel and you can't quite get things steady. But once you do, you're fine. And it's easy street. But in that initial stage, that front wheel is wobbling a lot, okay? And this is a delicate balance. You see, I guess the reason why I'm saying this is because I'm Taurus, and the Taurus females tend to be very, very feminine, okay? I have dealt with people in the past that did not like my femininity, that were very threatened by it, that basically, because I was so uber feminine and delicate and soft, the masculine in them kind of tried to overpower me. Okay. And that was a big, big lesson as to what really is going on very, very subtly sometimes, that we don't even get it sometimes. There's a delicate balance between feminine and masculine energy. You don't want to be too masculine as a feminine, because then that borders on being a fucking man hater. Okay. And with this modern feminism stuff, it's like it's Jezebelian in its agenda. Okay. It's Jezebel that originally kind of weaved her way in, right? And to say that it's Jezebelian, I feel more so Lilith in its energy. Because if you remember all the way back, okay, and we're taking it all the way back, it was Lilith that wanted to, when they were making love and everything, she wanted to be on top, okay? Look, that's a sexual position that can be a favorite of a lot of the feminines, okay? And I would have to imagine the masculines too, because they get to see you in all your glory, right? That's the appeal from the male perspective. You have to think like a man sometimes, okay? The only way you're going to survive this and not be triggered by every single thing that the masculine does is to think like him for a minute. Think like him for a minute. And you'll be like, oh, okay. Because when you're thinking like a man, you're thinking logically. They don't put a lot of emotion into it, okay? You see, we try to attempt to get our answers and understand from the perspective of a woman as opposed to from this perspective of a man. And we're going to get into that a little bit with the poem that I have prepared here. I didn't write this. This is something that I found here, but I did want to share it with you. All credit goes to the original author, okay? So how do you expect to attract your masculine back into your life if you're being masculine? I want you guys to really think about it, okay? Just like the masculine, if there's not enough, what's the word I'm looking for? You see, we're both looking for something within each other, okay? If you're a very, very uber feminine like I am, you want your masculine to be uber masculine. And then when you, through any visions or anything that you have, because look, I have visions all the time. Okay. It's like, I'm not using cards. I have my dreams. I have, visions during the day, and, these little epiphanies that happen without having to pick up a single card. But, that's redundant at this point. I'm not going to keep on bringing that up. Point being is that you get a very, very clear sense of what's going on here. Okay. If you're a woman, be womanly, be feminine, be soft. There's nothing wrong with that. See, the Jezebelian agenda has made it that if anything is decidedly feminine, crying, crying is a very feminine thing because it's a release. We can't hold that in us. We have to cry, whether it's through angry tears, happy tears, or frustrated tears, okay? We have to let it out. It's poisonous to keep that inside, being we're the feelers of the groups, okay? But if you're trying to handle all of the masculine part of this, then what's his job going to be? Well, you've left me with no job. So, well, handle it by yourself. You don't need me around. You have to think like the masculine, okay? This is all energetics, okay? It's not so much what you see in front of you. A lot of this is soul dynamics, soul mathematics, soul energetics, okay? Let me take a little coffee here. Hold on. Now, I'm speaking to you as a feminine, a very feminine, okay? Yes, I can get a little alpha, but that in no way, shape, or form makes me masculine. I have a bit of alpha in me, okay, because I'm represented as a bull, okay? Okay? The bull is the emblem there for the stock market. If you've ever been to New York, the New York Stock Exchange, it's a bull, but it's still bovine. Bovine meaning like a cow, like we're very, very, like the feminine version of the bull, which is bovine, okay? But still retaining a little bit of that masculine when you need it, especially in times of bill paying and budgeting and all of that stuff, okay? Doing something that requires a little bravery on your part, that is where you pull on the masculine part of the bull, okay? Same thing goes for the men, okay? When they need to approach something delicately that can really hurt somebody's feelings if they don't approach this with some kind of diplomacy, okay? And I have my moon in Libra, so I had to think about that all the time. How do I do this without insulting somebody, but still getting the truth across? I struggle with that all the time because, while I do have my Libra in my moon in Libra, I also do have my my Mars in, no, not Mars. Mars is in Cancer. My Mars is in Cancer. So even when I'm like fighting back, it's from the from my feelings. Okay, it's not really so much fists, which I certainly, most certainly can, but I don't want that being the first one that I do. I'd rather approach things intellectually before I approach them physically. Okay. So my Mercury is in Gemini. That's how I communicate with you guys. Okay. I have 1,000 things that I want to tell you in the span of a 20-minute video or a 40-minute video, right? But the way I deliver it is very slow, very methodical, very sure and placid. I'm not frantic in my energy, like, because I'm sure of what I have to say to you, and I'm confident that what I'm saying is to you is the truth. So I don't have to speak very, very fast. You see, somebody that speaks very, very rapidly, they're akin to the snake oil salesman, the car salesman, the one that wants to sell you the most expensive one on the lot, and you can't afford it, but they're going to be a fast talker, and it's going to sound glamorous, but you're missing a lot of things there because they're speaking so fast. Okay. Um, but getting into the masculine here, I'm going to read you a passage. And again, all credit goes to the original author. Let's get into it, shall we? This is called Apologies to the Divine Feminine from a Warrior in Transition. I feel like this is, I'm getting chills. Very, very telling for these times, okay? Apologies to the Divine Feminine from a Warrior in Transition. I apologize for my inability to distinguish the benevolent warrior from the heartless warrior, a reflection of my own confusion dealing with the battlefields of yore. When I opened my heart too wide, I was vulnerable to attack from warring factions. I was conditioned to believe that I had to stay rigid, focused, prepared for any eventuality in the desire to protect myself and others from attack. But I went too far and closed too tight and eradicated the bridge between our hearts. I am seeing this now, and I am sorry. I apologize for my perpetual absence, a reflection of my own inner absence, my inability to connect from a heart jammed tight by unresolved emotions that I did not have the tools to work through. I still lack many of these tools, but I am open to their emergence. I apologize for my inability to distinguish relationship from war. Like a warrior in enemy territory, I would sneak in and out of your life in the night, plundering and selfishly taking what I needed, then crawling back to the other side of the abyss with the spoils. I gave little back for fear that I would become vulnerable to attack. I had war on the brain, and I could not see the river of love waiting on the other side of the battlefield. I now recognize that love is the antidote for the armored warrior, but I could not drink the antidote in my driven state. I apologize for not seeing you, my eyes blinded by congealed rage and unshed tears. If it is any consolation, and I imagine it is not, I could not see myself either. I only saw that which served my hypervigilance, my warrior focus. My mirror was a battlefield. I apologize for my ungrounded materialism, my power-driven tyrannies, my obsession with accumulation. Somehow, I imagined that the accumulation would protect me and those close to me, but I failed to recognize that it just perpetuated the madness. I also apologize for my egoic abuses, a reflection of my own misguided ego, pumped up to deal with an inherently competitive world. I couldn't distinguish the healthy, confident ego from the cocky, unhealthy ego. I went much too far in the wrong direction. I apologize for a sexuality that was objectifying and disconnected from the heart. I know you long for real intimacy, a merging of our souls along the heart-genital highway. But there were too many defenses around my heart, and no bridge could form between our souls. There were moments when your loving ways freed me from my body masks, but I had no template to stand in that heart fire. I am sorry for this, for I knew that the path that you long for was the path to God. I apologize for my horrifying acts of violence, a reflection of my own congealed rage, my own inability to distinguish real enemies from friends. There are no words that can undo what I have done in those moments of madness. I know this, I do. I would hide my face in shame, but that won't make things better. I need to own my misdeeds, and then find a way to believe in my capacity to move from a more loving place. I call out to other male warriors to be accountable for the actions of our gender, not in a way that is self-hating, but in a way that is courageously self-honest and genuinely compassionate. The heartfelt warrior acknowledges the error of his ways and has the courage to do all he can to make amends over time. I apologize. I don't know if you guys saw that glitch there. I apologize for my inability to develop a conscious relationship. You were right there with your beautiful heart on your sleeve, but I was too attached to my individualism and afraid of this unknown terrain. I know the forests, the marketplace, and the ways of the outer world so well, but my inner geography is foreign to me. You called me to a place I was ill prepared to go, although I sensed, below the surface of my bravado, that you called me home. I am grateful for your willingness to believe that who I was in those rare moments of vulnerability was the real me. You were right. The real me lives inside of my heart, but a few moments now and then was the most I could handle. I saw you as dangerous, for in your presence I began to taste a surrendered way of being. Nonetheless, your faith in my goodness kept me going through many a battle and restored my faith in life when I most needed it. You were the light at the end of a barbaric tunnel, and I am blessed. I am grateful that you stuck with me through thick and thin, and I also understand those times you had to give up and let go. I now recognize that there is meaningful difference between a love ship and a relationship. Love alone is not enough. Without a shared willingness to become conscious, there can only be frustration. I was so often impossible, clinging to my unconsciousness like a soldier clings to his weapons. I recognize the courage it took for you to keep your heart open in the presence of my resistance. You had every right to seek an authentic relationship, as your spirit was ignited in its presence. Your beautiful heart had every right to be met in its openness and willingness. I am grateful for the time you gave me, a moment's respite from the hiding places I mistakenly called home. I am grateful for grandmother, for no one saw my tenderness more clearly. I am grateful for mother, for choosing to bring me into being and for nourishing my body until I could find my feet. I am grateful for Mother Earth, for grounding my expansion and enlivening my spirit. I am grateful for the Divine Mother, the real mother of us all. I now feel her divine presence, so close. That's the Holy Spirit. Fiercely compassionate, she was always right there, breathing life into me, holding me safe. I sit in her lap as she breathes me. I look forward to the day when the only thing that ignites relationship is two souls calling out to one another, two soul hearts beating in the same direction, a whisper of longing that bridges one essence to another. I want you not because it gratifies my ego, not because you are outwardly beautiful, but because your very presence invites my God self out of hiding. I want to touch you with my heart on my sleeve, to know chemistry between us that is not gender identified, but that is essence sourced, love's liquid lava flowing from the heart to the genitals to the great beyond. In this love-struck world, relationship will always be experienced as spiritual practice, a devotional expression of our God self. I had always believed that sensitivity is impossible to hold to in a harsh world. Saw the other glitch? Yet in this moment, I feel sensitive, but without the fragility. I am still wearing armor, but there is a shift in the direction of my intensity. I can linger in the heart space a little longer than I once could. I am softening in places. After so many lifetimes with weapon in hand, a tenderling warrior is being birthed in the core of my being. He is confused, but he intuitively knows that this is the way home. Please don't give up on me or my fellow warriors. Forgive us our misdeeds, or at the least, be open to the possibility that we will change as the trail expands to meet our shifting intentionality. The day will come when our warrior spirit loses its harsh edge and comes into alignment with the benevolent action. Some of us are already there, and many more of us will follow. The road to transformation is dependent on a bridge between genders, a benevolent bridge that celebrates our differences with respect and kindness. That work must begin with healing the rifts along the gender continuum, working hard to heal the collective heart until one day we can stand on a bridge across forever, hands held together, hearts open, and a light, embracing the sacred masculine and divine feminine, living at the heart of us all. I will meet you there. May you feel the love of the Divine Mother crashing down on your heartfelt shores, graciously lifting you up above the madness of the world, nestling you in the grateful arms of those you have nurtured. Those of us who have received your blessings may not always acknowledge it, but your acts of love have landed within us, growing us stronger and infusing us with love's light. Thank you. This is from a Jeff Brown, and it was written in 2010. All right, so I'm going to put that back up here. So this gives you a peek into the heart of the masculine. He's so used to fighting that he's even fighting you, okay? It's just something that he's done since the day he was born, okay? And a lot of this is cellular memory within their bodies. They'll see something, they'll smell something, they'll hear something, and one of those five senses will trigger a memory. And that automatic puts up their barriers, okay? And then here you are just being you, just being soft, tender, feminine you, okay? Being very, very restful in your own femininity. And us feminine women, we know how to be feminine. You know, some women don't know how to be feminine, okay? And this is where they get it wrong. They think that being rigid and being a modern uber feminist, you know, look, man, part of that Jezebelian agenda was to tear down the original fabric between man and wife, okay? And this is what us true twins are trying to reband together, okay? But you can't do that if you're trying to be the man. You can't be the man. Only the man can be the man, okay? Can you learn from your masculine and borrow from him in times where you need it? Of course. But don't stay there in the masculine energy, because then there's no room for your masculine to come in, all right? A lot of us are learning this essential truth, all right? Now, I find doing typically feminine things, which a lot of feminists would have a problem with what I'm saying right now, but oh well, okay. Doing typically feminine things kind of recalibrates you into that restful feminine energy, just receiving. You're supposed to receive, okay? And when you relax into your own femininity, it allows the masculine to relax in his natural masculinity, okay? And then the two can become one. And a lot of times you become one in spirit before you become one in the flesh, okay? Now, let's go to the 6 traits of the distorted feminine, okay? Again, all credit goes to the original author, okay? This is written by Diana Beaulieu. Beaulieu. I think that's French. Okay. Let's just get into this, shall we? We are at a crucial turning point in human history where recovering, embracing our feminine energy is perhaps the most important aspect of our evolutionary journey. The deeper purpose of this time is to bring the divine feminine back to her rightful place so she can act in, so that she can operate in partnership with the divine masculine. Again, partnership. That means you don't take over the divine masculine's job by being masculine yourself. You know, a lot of this is going to trigger some very, very masculine females, but hey, man, it's not for you to come down on me. It's for you to go within. You know, when you deflect, then you never heal. Okay? You project, you never heal. However, the return and integration of the feminine into our lives is not just about rebalancing, but also requires purifying and healing the feminine energies within us and in our world. We need to recognize that our feminine energy has a wounded or shadow side that must be acknowledged and brought into the light if we are to navigate our personal evolution with discernment. I call this shadow aspect the distorted feminine. Just like there's a distorted masculine, there's a distorted feminine, okay? Let's look at the meaning of the word distort. to twist out of a natural, normal, or original shape or condition, like a face distorted by pain. Also to cause to be perceived unnaturally, according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary. The distorted feminine is exactly this, an unnatural and twisted version of our true feminine nature that in this world actually competes with and subverts our true, authentic, or natural feminine nature and attributes. Okay? Softness, reception. Okay? You know, like for instance, I sell makeup, right? Not just because, that's my job, but I enjoy it. I enjoy the colors, I enjoy the textures, I enjoy playing with the colors, and it's something that I've always loved makeup since I was like, I had my first Barbie head. Okay, you guys remember the Barbie head where, it was just the head and shoulders, and at 5 years old you don't know how to do makeup, but you try. You put way too much blue or way too much pink, but it's celebrating your femininity. It's a nice, long, luxurious bubble bath, okay? Delicate floral scents, okay? Being feminine. What does it mean to be feminine to you? Okay? Let's discuss this, okay? I'll leave the comments open so that we can discuss this, okay? Alrighty. Because the distorted feminine is so pervasive, we can actually confuse the healthy and distorted energies. And for this reason, it is important to lay out clearly the difference between the two. Here are some of the ways in which the distorted feminine shows up in our psyche, a Greek term to describe the soul, and behaviors. These traits can show up in men and women alike. 6 traits of the distorted feminine. Inner emptiness. The distorted feminine is ultimately the traumatized part of our feminine self that has been separated from love and any genuine form of personal power. She is empty, hollowed out by her own suffering and invisibility. She has endured millennia of abuse, rape, a loss of status, respect, and even her own rightful voice and role in society. Generations of not being loved, embraced, seen, or heard by others have made her invisible to herself. She is the result of patriarchal trauma and affects the feminine aspects of us in different ways. This is somebody that is overly competitive. This is somebody that is has no originality. This is somebody that doesn't know how to express her own femininity, so she takes from other people. Okay, this is somebody that, because she doesn't feel seen or heard or anything like that, she needs to shout in other ways, whether that's being hypersexual or being aggressive and overly competitive, being spiteful and vindictive. Okay? That's all tied into this, just with number 1. All right? The distorted feminine cannot connect to or feel the beauty of her soul or her presence. She has suffered soul loss and fragmentation. Being ultimately empty, she can only survive by draining the love and attention of others. However, her empty cup will never be filled, and her appetite and need for externally sourced energy is endless. George Cavasilas has coined the term hollow queen to describe this archetype. Okay. Now, this one here, this part of it right here, this is somebody that sleeps with men for sport, will try to go after your man for sport. This is really encompassed in the Aries, Libra, Leo energy. Okay. More so Aries and Libra, though, I'm feeling. Okay. Because Aries women in this kind of archetype here are known to sleep with men for sport, just because, to say that they can. And that's to fill some inner emptiness within them. Okay. Outer shows of beauty. The distorted feminine is unable to connect to her inherent beauty and measures her value through her outward appearance. She invests heavily in making a display of her beauty in externalized forms, social media. Okay. She is obsessed by her makeup, hair, and the latest trends. There's a difference between liking something and making it an obsession. Like I said before, I sell makeup, but it's not my obsession. Okay, I love it. I guess I do, but it doesn't take over my life. Okay. Oh my goodness, if I have one single pimple, people are going to think that I'm ugly for the rest of my life. Relax, lady, it's a pimple. Okay. I'm 44. I still get pimples. Okay. Okay. I came out with dad's skin. Dad, didn't have the clear skin, so I came out with his skin. Okay. Um, let's see here. I don't want to lose my place here. Okay. She literally pins these that's a big word. Okay. She literally pins these ephemeral forms of value to her body, trying to disguise her inner emptiness with glamour. We all know one of these people, okay? Fake everything. Wigs, extensions on the eyelashes, just layers and layers and layers and layers of makeup and, very revealing clothing. Look, man, I'm proud of my body, but I have parts that are my favorites. I like my top and my legs and everything. I have legs going on for miles. Okay, so I'm very very thankful of that. I don't have these like shrimpy little stubby little legs. I have these long statuesque legs. So there are some things that I wish that I could change and everything, but it's not a big deal. I'm not going to go under the knife or anything. I'm not going to do anything like that. Okay, it's like it is what it is. My way of thinking, that kind of gets me through that when I have those little bouts of insecurity is, well, you know what? I can't have everything perfect. People will just hate me. Okay. And then I give myself a nice chuckle and then I move on with my life. Okay. It's not that big of a deal. But there are people that this is their hyper focus. Okay. It's like, I got to look good all the time. They could be sick as a dog, coughing up and everything. And it's like, first thing that they're concerned with is how they look on camera, how they look on social media. Um, and as I said before, they could be like, in a God forbid life or death situation where nobody gives a crap what you look like in your face. And it's like, first thing they want to do is they can't afford to just show you the way that they are right now. Bags under their eyes and, gaunt or pale lips or whatever. No, put a filter. God forbid you see me in my actual, because their beauty to them is their power, right? If they're not beautiful 1 second of the day, they'll lose their ever loving minds. But it's like, at that same point, on that same token, if you really want people to accept you for who you are, you have to be willing to be barefaced, completely barefaced, at least once or twice. Leave the filters alone. They see bags under your eyes, it's genuine. Okay? But some people can't think that way. And that's part of the distorted feminine. Okay? Alrighty, so we'll continue on here. She is tricked by the synthetic and cruelly unattainable images of desirable womanhood that continually remind her of her inherent unworthiness. If she is not actively involved in creating this image, then she slavishly tries to mimic them. Okay? When the distorted feminine is unable to reach these impossible standards, her fragile self-esteem collapses in on itself, leading her to feel body hatred and unworthiness that lead her to engaging in self-harm, whether through eating disorders, addiction, or brutal fitness regimes, as she batters her body into trying to attain a fake and manipulated perfection. Okay? This aspect of the distorted feminine shows up for women across the board, but for the younger generation of women, and that's the ones that I'm really talking to right now with this section of the video, be careful who you admire. Because what you see on social media is not what's going on in real life. If you had the chance to ask somebody that actually knows them, they would probably give you a completely different story as to what they are portraying on social media. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right. This aspect of the distorted feminine shows up for women across the board, but for the younger generation of women, the Instagram generation, okay, particularly, the pressures of social media, digital image manipulation, and web pornography make the pressure to conform to outer perfection unbearably heavy. Okay. You will not find me. Look, I may use filters, but I'm 44 years old. You expect me to use a filter. Okay. You expect me to. If you're like in your 20s or your teens or whatever, you don't need to use a filter. I'm 44. I do need to use a filter. Okay. And there's no shame in that. Yes, I be loving my filters, honey. Yes, I do. Okay. But again, 44, you expect it. It's normal. Okay. Now, you won't find me having the little dog face filter. That's a little childish. Okay. But the other ones that, kind of smooth everything out and everything, yes, I enjoy using them. And there's no shame in it. There's none. Okay. Because I do realize that there are some people that say, well, Bernie, you're not exactly practicing what you preach. We have seen you with filters. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I admit it. Yes, I use filters. I do. And I do still think I look good. And if I decided not to use the filters, yes, you would see, that I don't have the little tiny nose and, the little freckles and everything. But it's for me, that's just for those people that understand where I'm coming from. The filters are just like an extension of makeup. Again, playing dress up, right? It's something that, perhaps I should have been like a, movie makeup artist where you turn into somebody else. Halloween has always been my favorite holiday. Okay. So for me, it's like Halloween every day with the filters, right? So, if somebody has a problem with me using filters, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, there's far more pressing things to be concerned about. But anyway, let me sip my coffee on that one. It's good stuff. Already. Obsession with eternal youth. Now, I can personally tell you about this one, okay? If I'm going to be teaching you guys, I'm also going to be exposing, certain elements of myself, okay? Because shame the devil, right? Because I know that there's a lot of people that like to take the things that I say and, kind of manipulate them and switch them around and try to use them to feed their agenda. But obsession with youth. Yes. Yes. I do wish I was in my 20s again. Actually, to be honest, I think I looked the best when I was 16, 17. I had the long hair and clear skin, and not a wrinkle, not a line, not a single gray hair. So like 16, 17. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. That's before the ojeras started coming. Ojeras in Spanish is like the under eye circles. Okay. And I do have to be honest with you guys, I do think about, the eternal youth and all of that stuff. I do sell products that make you look younger. Okay. And they work. They're good stuff. And, a lot of people like them. But, at the very basis of it, where a lot of times when we're trying to reclaim our youth, we're reclaiming that carefree time, right? Because as you get older, you do tend to, I apologize for that my landlord has not fixed that front door. So, every time somebody opens it, it scrapes the floor. So yeah, I got a great landlord. Anyway, so yes, us older, more mature women, we do think about our looks as it pertains to the standard of youthful beauty. Now, this is the thing. The distorted feminine can be present in people my age as well. Okay. 44 or 45, especially since a lot of the beauty industry is marketed more towards skincare, more towards line diffusing makeup, right? It's like, the last thing you need is for your makeup to settle into your fine lines. Okay. That's where a primer comes in. But, that's another video. I've been planning on making another makeup tutorial video. Let me know what you guys want to see as far as that, because I've been planning one. It's really, really fun. But let's continue. The distorted feminine is terrified of the physical process of aging. Now, this is in younger people too, in their 20s and their 30s. They use the filter too. They don't want you to see that they've been up all night, so they use a filter. Okay? Or they use makeup. We all do it, okay? She is unable to place value herself, excuse me, as a soul going through the sacred and natural cycles of life. I'm at the age where I'm perimenopausal. Okay, there's menopausal and perimenopausal. Okay, I'm right now in the stage of perimenopause. Okay, so that's basically, right before menopause. So my mom got her change at 42, which is it's very funny because these things kind of coincide with each other. And she got her change the day that she started going to school. She went back to college. So it's the end of one phase of life and the beginning of another, right? So I'm very proud of my mom. She's amazing. She's amazing. Sometimes we drive each other nuts because we're two earth signs and we bump heads all the time. But I love that woman. I'm so freaking proud of her. So freaking proud of her. She's a Virgo. She's a Virgo. Okay. They're all about, constant, learning. Okay. My DM is a Virgo. Okay. So if he's watching right now, babes, I guess, that's something that him and future mama-in-law have in common. They're both Virgo. So, anyway, how auspicious is that? And in my chart also, I forget, it's something with an O, where it says who your soulmate is, it's Virgo. So it was like ding, 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 ding. A lot of people go through their whole chart and everything. All I did was look at that little section right there. It said Virgo. I was like, he's a Virgo. Boom. That's it. So to continue on, she cannot psychologically integrate her natural evolution from the sexual potency of youth, the maiden, into creative power and love, the mother, and finally wisdom, the crone. That really is talking about, I used to study all about this subject here, but, if you want to put it in other terms, the maiden being youth, your teens to your early 20s, okay? And then your late 20s to about 38, 39 is the mother, okay? And then 40 and on is the crone, right? So I'm the wisdom Sophia part of my life, okay? I've gotten enough knocks in the head to to learn a thing or two, okay? She is obsessed with eternal youth and all the possible means of attaining it because her attention and obsession are on her external appearance only. These are women that go under the knife to pull everything back. Okay? There used to be this joke about Joan Rivers. Mommy, you've heard this one. Mommy loves sitting in on these sessions right here. There's this little joke about Joan Rivers and the amount of plastic surgeries that she's had, that she every time her face falls, that she just takes all of the extra skin and then turns it into a ponytail in the back of her head. Sorry. But then, that can be also, and she had a decent surgeon, but then there are the ones that really fuck up your face. Like in the case of Jocelyn Wildenstein, the cat lady. She wanted to look like a cat or a lion or something because her man liked tigers or lions or something, right? It was one of his favorite animals, something feline, right? So she turned herself into a feline. It's, and that's a real mental issue there when you want to turn yourself into a whole ass animal. Okay, she can never go back from that. She can never go back from that. And if you look at Jocelyn Wildenstein before the surgery, she was actually quite beautiful. A lot, and this is the pathology that's within the women, that there was something wrong that needed fixing. So what? So I got some gray hair. So what? So I have a few wrinkles. Okay. If I make up my face right now, if I put some makeup on right now, you would not be able to tell that I'm 44. But I will not go under the knife. I will not. Because of that very, very fear that they're going to fuck up what didn't need to be fucked up. Okay? Look at Lisa Rinna's lips. Okay? What they put in her lips hardened, and it stayed like that. They couldn't remove it. Okay? They removed some of it, but they can only remove so much. There was nothing wrong with her lips at all. Look at Khloe Kardashian. A short time ago, she broke the internet with her new looks, right? And they even had a meme saying, Tristan said I think we should see other people, and then she comes in looking somebody completely different, but it's still Khloe Kardashian, right? Why would you change your whole entire face? Now, look, I don't like my nose. I don't like my nose. I'll be the first to tell you I don't like my nose. I love my lips. I love my eyes. I love my cheekbones. Those are my favorite part there because they're sharp enough to cut a bitch. Okay, nice and high. But my nose is something that leaves something to be desired. I don't like it. Contouring is only going to do so much. So if you see me on here with looking a little more refined, I promise I didn't go under the knife. I just really upped my contouring and highlighting skills. Okay. But we all have something that we don't like about ourselves. But what I've learned, and I've spoken to not just my masculine, but just men in general, and they all come to the same consensus. Okay. What you don't like about yourself usually is one of the first things that your masculine loves about you. Ain't that some shit? It's like, I remember telling my masculine one time, because my hair was very, very damaged. Very damaged, okay? And I really can't afford these fancy treatments, okay? The treatments of the stars. And I remember having a conversation with him one time. And I told him about my damaged hair, that I wanted to cut it really, really short, but I was a little concerned about looking a little masculine, okay? Because I did have a pixie cut before, but you can never replicate that new hairdo type of energy. It's like, then it looks dated after that. You can't get that same, ooh, that looks good on you. Even though, short hair does look good on me because of the cheekbones and everything, it brings them out. But I remember asking him, babes, would you still love me if I had really, 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 really short hair? And he says, and I quote, babe, you could be bald and the feeling would be the same. Yes, I can feel the collective feminine. Aww. Yeah, that's my baby. That's my baby, and I'm a lucky, lucky woman. I really am. He's pretty fucking fabulous. Okay. He's amazing. Okay. In every way, shape, and form. So if he's listening right now, babes, you're the awesomeness. So moving forward, I have expressed my concerns with aging and everything. You see, the things that are so big of a deal to you as a feminine, while they acknowledge it, they don't see it as something that's ugly or, unattractive on you. Okay. And I've had these types of conversations with my masculine, and it's like, I remember one time, and I've mentioned this before, we were at an Ulta, okay, on a date. And of course, I'm taking them around the store and everything. Us ladies usually do that. We lead them around the store. And the poor guy is like, completely clueless as to what all these things are for, right? Masculines, if that's true what I'm saying, leave it in the comments. And I remember we were by the little implements for the hair, and there was this like shiny, like reflective rainbow type of implement that was a hair straightener, right? I think it was Ionic or something. It was really expensive, right? So do a lot of us women do more window shopping than actual shopping, right? So we're walking by and everything, and I told him something to the effect of, well, for us to, we don't just fall out of bed looking like this. It takes some work, and it takes these little implements here, right? And he says, and I quote, "I don't know why y'all don't need it." It's like, you kind of feel like, kind of like a goddess at that point. It's like, you can have like not a stitch of makeup on, which, I'm never around my masculine without being done up. It's like, no. Um, it's the whole queen king thing, Anyway, I'm getting diverting from the whole thing here, but point being is that your divine masculine will see you as beautiful whether you have full makeup on or you're wearing a freaking knapsack. Okay, you could be wearing a potato bag and he'll still think you're sexy. Okay, so for them, it's not so much, even though they're very visual creatures. What I've noticed about the masculine is that what makes you insecure, they love about you. So it's like, you're kind of like looking at yourself in the mirror, like, maybe he has a point, So let's go through this, because I do want to end this video, because I have a couple of things that I need to do, because I do want to drop another video, but I'm not doing that alone. Okay. Alrighty. So she is obsessed with eternal youth and all the possible means of attaining it, because her attention and obsession are on her external appearance only. The process of aging only shows her inner emptiness more starkly and cruelly. She employs all the ways and means to remain forever young, quote unquote, provided by our society's youth obsessed culture, including plastic surgery, which I was referring to, expensive creams, and Botox injections that will stave off the dreaded aging process. Okay. Now, look, with that, being somebody that's both a makeup artist and also I sell cosmetics, while there's truth to that, you also can't get on people if they don't want to look like a bag of bones. Okay. We take pride in our appearance. So if we can soften those lines a little bit, there's no judging there. Okay. But I mean, if you're going under the knife and pulling things back and, nipping and tucking and having things put in and lifted and poked and prodded, then that's something completely different. Okay. Makeup comes off. Surgery is permanent. Okay. And on the subject of implants, breast implants, there's saline and silicone. Okay. The silicone looks fake. Okay. You can see the ridge and everything. It looks fake. Okay. But some people like that Barbie doll kind of fake look, and that's more for the younger set, that they want to look a certain way. And then there are the other ones that kind of want a more natural, quote unquote, look to it. So they use saline, which is salt water. Okay. Which is a little more expensive. Okay. It runs you anywhere on average from $3,000 to $4,000, maybe $6,000 to $8,000, depending on where you go. I know here in New York, It's anywhere from $4,000 to $5,000. Okay. Um, but you have to have them replaced every 10 years. Who has 4Gs to keep on putting them new bags in every 10 years? And then there's the issue if you want to have children and breastfeed, or if you want to put, body jewelry in there, if it's going to pierce anything, it's like there's so many other questions. You could have just left, I should say, your AAAs alone. You could have just left them alone. Okay. And I'm going to tell you something, honestly, certain things look better, you know, with bigger breasts or smaller breasts. So, like me, I'm kind of like mid range. Like, I'm not like huge, but I'm not small either. I don't have like triple A's or anything. Um, I'm not going to tell you what my size is, but just it's not triple A. Okay. Um, but body jewelry and everything kind of looks better on certain sizes, right? Um, and then there's the whole issue of when you get a tattoo early in your life, when as you age, it migrates. Okay, it gets light blue. Okay, especially if there's a lot of shading in it, it turns light blue. Okay, if you get it, let's say you get your tattoo on a place where there's a lot of motion, like an ankle, a knee, a wrist, a hand, it's going to get blotchy a lot sooner than in any other part of your body. It's gonna kind of, because you use your hands for everything and it's right by your wrist, it's gonna fade very, very quickly. I can tell you because I have these two hearts here on my left wrist, and the pink is already all but gone. And all that's left is the black shading. Okay. I have to get some more pigment put in there, but it's right now that's not really important to me, but at some level I don't know if I'm going to keep the two hearts. I just might get it a cover up with something else. If you have any ideas for some cute wrist tattoo ideas, let me know. Okay. Anyway, because I have it on the inside of the wrist. All right. I don't want anything too gaudy either. I don't want it to take up too much of my wrist. Anyway, let's see here. We can find countless examples among movie and music stars and other high profile women and men who regularly mutilate their bodies to fight against the effects of time on their faces and bodies to permanently embody the sexually alluring youth. Note that these are generally artificial and synthetic methods that cannot bring healing and rejuvenation to the human body. Quite the reverse, they are harmful. I'm going to give you a few examples. Meg Ryan with the lips. Mickey Rourke. Let's see. But he did it to reconstruct his face because he was a brawler, and he got punched in the face so many times that what for the reason that I think he got into an accident, and that's why he got the reconstructive surgery. So that's different. But he never looked the same after that. Okay, you never look the same with plastic surgery after that. I mean, you're not supposed to, but Jennifer, not Garner, not Lawrence, the one that played Baby in Dirty Dancing. I forget her last name. Jennifer something. She had a little bump on her nose, right? But everybody knew who she was. The quote unquote the chick from that movie, right? She got her nose done. She walks into a room, nobody knows who she is. She's unrecognizable. I mean, it's aesthetically pleasing to the face. It is. Okay, of course. Profile and straight on. But nobody knows who that is now. Nobody knows that she was in a movie with Patrick Swayze. Okay. So this is the point that I'm trying to make. You see this a lot in Hollywood. They'll stretch their face and everything. It's like, Even what's her name? The one that played Judy Garland, Renee Zellweger. Okay, I think she did something to her eyes or her eyebrows, and just that little thing, right? Just changed her whole face because she had the hooded eyes. We all knew her by the hooded eyes, right? And she had lifted her hooded eyes and made her look completely different. Okay. Just that one little thing just changes your whole appearance. If I got a nose job today, guys, you would not recognize me. You would not recognize me. You would not. If I did a little, refinement or whatever, okay, you would not recognize me. I look a certain way, you know what my face looks like, and if I got that nose done, you would not recognize me. And for that, I will not do it then. I don't care how much, I don't like it. That I want to be recognized, right? So I will not touch my nose. Anyway, seduction and bewitchment. There's quite a bit here that we have to go through, so I'm going to go through it. Seduction and bewitchment. Ooh, this is a big one. The distorted feminine, feeling empty and unworthy of love, is genuinely terrified that her inner emptiness will be uncovered, therefore cannot risk intimacy or vulnerability. She is, therefore, the mistress of magic, seduction, glamour, and guile. She projects a false and idealized image of herself into the world that literally bedazzles. These are people. Okay, now I want to make a clear distinction here. When you're reading this part of the passage, you're thinking that it's somebody that, has the beautiful, luxurious hair and the long eyelashes and the carved out features and the slinky outfit and all of that stuff, and with a bewitching gaze. Bewitchment and glamour does not just look like that. Sometimes it looks like a plain Jane masculine woman. Okay. So there's the ones that can overly depend on their sexuality because they use it because they know they got it. Okay. And then there's the ones that are not sexy at all, are not beautiful at all, are quite masculine. Okay. But they still bewitch and guile. And the real mark of a witch is if you're afraid to speak up against her. If you're afraid to speak up against this person, that's bewitchment, beguilement, and glamour spells being put on you, and you're none the wiser. Timestamp that one. Timestamp it, because it could really be to your detriment if you ignore it. Just saying that much. She projects a false and idealized image of herself onto the world that literally bedazzles. This type of seduction is woven through the astral plane, often involving pineal gland manipulation, mind control, and entrapment. Okay? A person could literally not have the talent for a certain thing that they pretend to be, but because everyone is afraid to speak up, and whether you agree with me or not, I mean, facts are facts, afraid to speak up against the person because they're afraid of her. And that's the mark of a witch. Okay. I have people speaking up against me all the time, honey. Okay, how many people have tried to come for me? So, there's a lot of people that are trying to take what I'm saying here and try to twist it around and try to put it back. But as you guys have seen, there's people that are not afraid to, come for me. So me being the same type of person, I'm kind of that person. I'm kind of like, if you think about it, if a person is a Goliath, I'm like David, right? It's like, I may be small, I may be scrappy, but I'm going to take your ass down. Even if nobody else is willing to speak up, I'll be the bitch to speak up. Okay. But another video. Let's see here. When her victim falls in love, often at first sight, seeing her as the embodiment of perfect womanhood, she harvests the attention and energy of sexual obsession and idealized fantasizing. Her victim will literally not be able to get her out of his head and will experience obsessive and compulsive thoughts about her. This state is often confused with genuine love feelings, and our media and music industry promote this version of sexual obsession and romantic fantasy as an idealized love state to no end. See, Can't Get You Out of My Head by Kylie Minogue as a perfect example. Alrighty, so we get into vampirism and codependency. The distorted feminine has a wounded and incomplete sense of her personal and sexual power. Her emptiness means that she needs to fill herself with the emotional and sexual energy of others. While seduction, above, is one way to bring in energy and attention to feed her being, she also thrives on sexual and emotional entanglement to gain much needed personal power and energy from others. Often using the sexual act as a way to open the energetic connection, she sends out energetic hooks from deep within her wounded or empty sexual energy center so that she can catch, latch onto, feed from, and ultimately control the emotional, sexual, and creative energy of her mate. This creates deep, energetic, and emotional entanglement where obsession, jealousy, and codependence rule. The irony is that often the person who is being drained by her will think that the vampire is actually the person they need to complete themselves, a pervasive and toxic connect in itself. The distorted feminine may create similar bonds through non-sexual relationships with friends, colleagues, children, and even parents as a way to continually connect to and harvest the vital force of others. Again, the codependent version of love is easily confused with true love in our society. Listen to Without You by Mariah Carey for a classic song promoting the distorted feminine version of addicted love. Okay. Competition and patriarchal status. Okay. The distorted feminine feels her emptiness so keenly she cannot perceive any self-value in her uniqueness or individual expression. She can only measure her value through competition and comparison with regards to others. I have witnessed this firsthand, honey. Okay. It seems that every time I come up with a idea for a new venture, how else can you explain that person releasing something that I was going to release a week prior unless it was being read on? Okay. Tarot cards and the like. Okay. Come on. I'm not stupid. I may have left the tarot cards, but I still know when people are using them. Okay. Anyway, she is seduced by the status, recognition, money, and power offered by getting to the top of the patriarchal order of our modern day. She particularly craves roles and positions that give her visibility and attention, which again feed her inner emptiness, particularly in politics, performing arts, fashion, and business. Okay. To the outside observer, she may be viewed as an exemplar of modern-day feminism and a promoter of sexual equality. However, ironically, she is more often than not glamorizing and propagating the energy of the distorted feminine, be it glamour or the quest for eternal youth. In addition, she does nothing to challenge the patriarchal order itself. She has simply become a part of the machine, taking roles and positions that have traditionally been occupied by her masculine counterparts. Therefore, her overall effect in the world is to actually alienate herself and others from their natural feminine power and self-love and personal sovereignty. The woman tells no lies. Okay. The distorted feminine hijacks our natural feminine power. I am sure that by now you will recognize that many of the successes and role models who occupy positions of visibility and power in our world, be it in politics, media, the performing arts, and other fields, are, to varying degrees, embodiments of the distorted feminine who thus promote this archetype as desirable and worthy of attaining. You will also be aware that the corporate world, and in particular the media and the fashion industry, bombards women and men with images, messages, and values that aggressively promote the distorted feminine as an archetype to be embodied. And this is a highly damaging form of mass mind control. She said it, I didn't. The distorted feminine shows up in conditions such as narcissism, codependency, body shame, and eating disorders. Her mistaken ambition drives women and men to seek forms of status and success that are hollow and unsatisfying. Her emptiness is at the core of the never ending quest for fullness that leads to addictions, be it to drugs, sex, or money. Yes, you can be addicted to money, especially if you have several. If you can't concentrate on one thing and you flip flop from one project to the other, uh, you start something, realizing that there's not much of a bite or a wanting from your people from that, and then you change to something else. Then somebody calls you out on it, and then they're at fault. It's like I've seen it many, many times. Um, Huge amounts of our personal energy can be invested in feeding the never ending energetic needs and unrealistic demands of the distorted feminine energy within us, meaning that we are compromised and unable to focus on our inner evolution and our unique personal journey from a place of compassion, peace, and confidence. When we choose to open our eyes to how the distorted feminine operates within us and see clearly how this energy captivates and parasitizes us at a mass societal level, we can begin to empower ourselves through self-healing and a new level of awareness. We can choose to heal the distorted feminine patterns within us, enabling us to far more healthy version of ourselves. Embracing the natural woman archetype. The ultimate healing that we need to experience in order to free ourselves from the distorted feminine is to recognize and the trauma wounds and the emptiness of the distorted feminine. We do this by resolving the soul fragmentation and disempowerment resulting from our individual and collective traumas. Much of this work happens when we begin to awaken and heal the womb. We can then call back our true self, a fullness of energy and love that is our natural birthright. This healing allows us to embrace and embody a far more healthy and natural archetype of our human selves, what we might call the natural woman. Okay, this makes me think of the song by Aretha Franklin. Okay, well, it was sung by Aretha Franklin. That's the version that I feel is most popular. But it was originally written by Carole King. Um, wow, you used to be so uninspired. Wow. Wow. You make me feel. You make me feel. You make me feel like a natural woman. Woman. You know that one. Okay. And she's basically talking about somebody that loves her for who she is, and it makes her feel so sexy in her natural womanliness without having to put on a face, put on, do it because you want to, not because you feel that uh, this is what you're supposed to do, right? Okay. Now, there's nothing, this is where people can get it twisted. Okay. Yes, it's when you like traditional feminine things, it's not the same as making that an obsession. And if you don't have it one day of your life, that you're just going to fall apart. If your personality and your image is so closely tied in with something that you wash off at the end of the night, you're washing off, the face that you present to the world. Okay. This is why with a lot of my videos, you don't see me with any makeup on. This is what I look like. Okay. You see me with a little mascara on, I decided not to, I decided to put some makeup on. That's it, because I wanted to do it. Not because, being presentable means having it as opposed to not having it. You understand? Okay. Let's see here. I'm just going to go through this. All right. Now, I'm going to actually give you the link in the description or in the comments so that you can finish reading this yourself. I've already I think it's over an hour right now. I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to let you read the rest of this yourself. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe. Again, if you want to support, check out my website. There's a lot of sales going on. If you have any questions about any of those products, let me know. That's what I'm here for, to help, and to be of service. Anyway, love you guys. Please check out my Patreon at patreon.com/the side. Well, no, not the side-eyed strategist. Let me say that again. Patreon.com/side-eyed strategist. Okay. I have 3 tiers, 10, 20, and 35. The $35 one gets you an email conference with me, okay, where we can discuss your situation. I don't pull cards, but we will discuss your situation, okay, as to what's going on. In these times, this is a service that I can offer that's still in tandem with what I've been charged to do, but doesn't require any materials really to do it. So, all right, guys, love you very much. And don't be a stranger, okay? If you're passing by, please consider subscribing. If you like my content, please smash that like button. And if you want to see more of this, when you go to the 3 bells, go to the top one, because that way you'll get every single one of them, okay? You won't miss out on anything, okay? Yeah, and I'll talk to you guys later. I'll be back later with another video. But I'm just doing a little research in the interim. Yeah, because when I come on here, I want facts to be displayed. Okay, love you guys, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next video. Queen Bernadette out.